Thank you, Chief Secretary to the President and Cabinet, Dr. Martin Rushwaya, members of the 4th Estate. Today, the 3rd of June 2025, His Excellency the President, Dr. Edi Mnangagwa, chaired the Cabinet meeting, and the following issues, among others, were considered and approved. Cabinet considered and approved proposals on the operationalization of the Community Share Ownership Trust and the Reserved Sectors Policy, which was presented to Cabinet. Community Share Ownership Trusts were established to ensure that local communities benefit from the extraction and exploitation of natural resources within their jurisdictions. In accordance with the legislative framework promulgated in 2013, 61 community share ownership trusts were established, with 58 subsequently being registered. To revitalize the community share ownership trust program, the government of Zimbabwe will undertake a comprehensive review of the implementation framework and provide corporate rescue support to struggling trusts. A robust economic empowerment policy and regulations will be developed to ensure effective and transparent management of community share ownership trusts. Additionally, efforts will be made to publicize the existence of community share ownership trusts and ensure comprehensive audits in terms of funds utilization. Cabinet received and noted an update on the implementation of the Zimbabwe Industrial Reconstruction and Growth Plan as it pertains to the pharmaceutical value chains. The pharmaceutical sector has been identified as a key priority area within the Zimbabwe Industrial Reconstruction and Growth Plan, given its significant growth and import substitution potential. The strategic objective of the value chain is to increase the proportion of locally produced essential medicines from 30% to 60% by 2025 and reduce the national medicines input bill from approximately 220 million United States dollars in 2020 to around 100 million United States dollars by the end of 2025. As of 2023, the pharmaceutical market size was estimated at United States dollars 400 million. Since 2020, the local pharmaceutical value chains has experienced tremendous growth, with the percentage of locally produced essential medicines increasing from 15% to 36%. Additionally, capacity utilization has risen significantly from 12% in 2020 to 51% in 2024. The sector has also seen an influx of new entrants, resulting in a 56% increase in the total number of producers from 9 to 14. Although pharmaceutical exports remain lower than imports, there was a notable 15.6% rebound between 2020 and 2024, with exports growing from United States dollars 4.5 million to 5.2 million United States dollars. Furthermore, the import management strategy has enabled two indigenous pharmaceutical retailers to transition into manufacturing. Notably, the Medicines Control Authority of Zimbabwe has achieved maturity level 3 of the World Health Organization's benchmarking tool, indicating a stable and well-functioning regulatory system. To guarantee continued growth of the pharmaceutical value chain, the government of Zimbabwe will continue to provide adequate funding to NATFAM and to commit to ensuring sustained uptake of locally produced drugs by public agencies as well as by the private sector. A pharmaceutical revolving fund will be established to provide affordable financing for the industry. Furthermore, the VAT zero rating on pharmaceutical products will be reinstated, and the reliance on drug imports will be reduced by establishing local drug testing capabilities. The sugar tax will also be prioritized to enhance financial support for the manufacturing of essential drugs. Cabinet received and approved the principles of the Road Accident Fund Bill. The main objective of the Road Accident Fund Bill, which will emerge from the principles, is to reduce deaths and injuries from road traffic accidents by 2030 through access to safe, affordable, and sustainable transport systems, as well as improving road safety for all. The Road Accident Fund Bill seeks to address the current post-accident management framework with the existing insurance packages, which have some shortcomings in terms of immediate evacuation of accident survivors to medical facilities. Emergency services providers are reluctant to provide medical services in instances when payment for service is not guaranteed. The current liability cover is inadequate to cover medical and funeral expenses. The Road Accident Fund will place greater focus on enhanced responsiveness to post-crash emergencies in order to improve the ability of health and related systems to offer appropriate emergency treatment and longer-term rehabilitation for accident victims. The fund will provide immediate recourse to medical and funeral expenses and enhance the capacity of emergency services providers and medical institutions to effectively respond to road accidents to save lives. The Road Accident Fund will be funded from motor vehicle insurance premiums and any other such funds appropriated by Treasury. Under the legislative program, Cabinet considered and approved the following: the Occupational Safety and Health Bill of 2025 and the ratification of the treaty between the Republic of Zimbabwe and the People's Republic of China on mutual legal assistance in criminal matters. The main objective of the Occupational Safety and Health Bill is to consolidate and broaden the scope of OSH legislation and align with International Labour Organization conventions, namely Convention 155 on Occupational Safety and Health, Convention 161 on Occupational Health Services, Asbestos Convention 162, Chemicals Convention 170, Convention 174 on the prevention of major industrial accidents, Convention 176 on safety and health in mines, as well as Convention 187 on promotional framework for occupational safety and health. Prior to consolidation, occupational safety and health legislation was fragmented, limited in scope, and did not cover all key industrial sectors. The new legislation will result in the promotion of occupational safety and health through the elimination of occupational accidents, injuries, diseases, and fatalities at the workplace. On promulgation, the new legislation will repeal the Pneumocnosis and Factories and Works Acts. Zimbabwe signed the Treaty on Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matters with China in September 2024. The treaty provides the basis for undertaking mutual assistance with investigators, investigations, prosecutions, and judicial proceedings related to criminal matters. The mutual assistance will be entirely in the form of service of documents, disposal of proceeds of crime, exchange of information on the law, and the transfer of persons in custody for the purpose of giving or assisting with evidence collection. The ratification of the treaty is important as it will enhance mutual judicial processes and promote effective cooperation between the two countries. Ratification of the treaty will also help strengthen the country's diplomatic relations with other countries, demonstrate commitment to international cooperation, and promote adherence to global best practices. I thank you. On the time frame in terms of the implementation of the Road Accident Fund. The second question, Trabablas interchange. We didn't discuss about that today. I know it's an engineering marvel, but perhaps we can allow you as a bonus, since there are no other questions. Talking about how are we going to ring fence the Road Accident Fund in the face of looting and abuse. Over to you, Advocate Mona.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and let me also thank my brother Freedom. Indeed, it's something that has to be managed, and I'm happy that you are coming from that perspective, where we also need to ring fence. But the goodness of this fund, a board will be constituted, which will run the affairs of this fund. And as we draft, this is something that the Attorney General will come so that we have measures to mitigate such malpractice. Thank you.
The occupational health and safety and the mutual assistance in terms of cooperation between the Republic of Zimbabwe and the Republic of China. Yes, we have a historical relationship dating back to the days of the liberation struggle between our respective people, especially when the People's Republic of China provided military, financial, diplomatic, and educational support during the War of Liberation and post-independence. We've cooperated in a number of developmental issues, including in construction, including on many other fronts. But your question relates to labor relations issues about employee-employer relations. The first issue that we need to appreciate is that investment is investment. It does not know a nationality or color. And at the same time, the issues about salaries are better addressed in terms of the Labor Act, in terms of the laws in Zimbabwe. The current investment and constitutional framework that we have allows every investor in terms of labor relations through a collective bargaining agreement and also through a sector-based National Employment Council framework, which also allows employees and employers to negotiate in terms of salaries, but also following minimum industrial thresholds in terms of the law. But at the same time, if it relates to criminal issues, then that is how the mutual legal assistance agreement that we have signed between Zimbabwe and China comes in, when it becomes criminal. But if it is about labor, that is best governed in terms of the laws in our country. So the agreement, it focuses on criminal assistance in terms of investigations, in terms of following up, in terms of judicial processes, and also in terms of the judicial framework as decisions are made. But your question relates to labor relations matters, which are in many ways have got a number of variations. If it's managerial staff, if there is a dispute or the dispute has not been solved through a mutual termination of employment, or if there is a dispute of right or a dispute of interest, that varies. But we already have a very sustainable framework which includes in terms of remuneration, which is sector-based. And whenever there is a problem, we have an arbitration act, and at the same time the labor courts which are properly constituted. I'm sure you know we have the integrated electronic case management system also to expedite most of these issues. But investment, employer-employee relations knows no color, knows no nationality. It's basically in terms of the laws of Zimbabwe, which are not discriminatory about an employer as an employer, an employee is an employee. So that can best be managed in terms of the Labor Act. Thank you.